Okay, guys, awesome. Hey, my name is Mr. Olson. If you remember me from the first MakerSpace meeting, it's great to see you again. If this is the first time you've been here, awesome. So glad you guys are here. This meeting, we are going to do a couple of hands-on activities. We're going to go into some breakout rooms. We're going to work together to see if we can't solve some problems. So the MakerSpace meetings are all about improving your guys' skill sets. So how can we build our skills that enables you guys to create cool things on your own? So we're still in the ideation process. So ideation, which we're going to find out about today, is all about creating different ideas. So a little recap. Can you guys see my screen up here, up above? Everyone see that okay? Okay, awesome. So recapping on last time, we were looking at ideation through sketching. So if you guys remember, we were looking at this image here in the background of what is this image of? What are we looking at? You guys can come off mute. If you know, you can throw it in the chat. What do those look like?
I have no idea.
Brant's not sure. Does anyone know? What are these things in this drawing?
Maybe stuff from the dentist?
What are those things?
What are those? I see earbuds in there. Buds, yeah, earbuds. Yeah, if you guys know, we're a fairly small group, so feel free to come off chat. I saw Mario raise his hand. Yeah, so this is a cool thing about sketching is that we can draw these ideas and people can see what we're thinking, basically just through the drawing. I didn't have to put a label on here that said earbuds. You guys intuitively knew that they were earbuds. The design is somewhat familiar. We were also looking at different ways that we could draw to create this 3D form. So it had some sort of volume, some sort of perceived shape to it. We can tell that these are supposed to be 3D cubes, right? And they're all going to a single vanishing point. So this is a great example of one-point perspective. If you guys are ever trying to draw a cool building or maybe like the inside of a room or something like that, this is a really great way that you can get your ideas across without kind of losing your thoughts within the process of drawing, because it can be kind of hard to draw a full room unless you have a couple of tools. So
10, 20.
The next one we looked at was two-point perspective, which shows how to draw something from like the outside of a building. So with this one versus the first one, we have two vanishing points that the corners of that building are disappearing to. It's super useful when we're drawing things that have straight edges, like buildings and cities and that kind of thing. But we can also use it to help us make really nice arches, circles, and put things into perspective depending on how far or close they're away. So that brings us into today's topic, which is ideation through sculpture, right? So we kind of ended last time trying to draw 3D images so we could explain to someone on a piece of paper, right? We could hold up the paper and say, look at this idea I have. So what we're going to focus on today is actually making like prototypes, first ideas. And
Okay.
guys, if you could please mute, that would be awesome.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna have to mute some people. A little bit better. Okay, awesome. So with an ideation through sculpture, instead of drawing it and trying to come up with some drawing that's visual and that can explain our idea, what if we could just make a little tiny version? These little tiny versions are called prototypes. So it could be as simple as a folded piece of paper. It could be as elaborate as a whole sculpture made out of clay. But in the end, the idea is that we're getting our ideas across. So I have a little video that we're going to watch here that's about design thinking and the ideation process.
Design thinking is a 5-step process to come up with meaningful ideas that solve real problems for a particular group of people. The process is taught in top design and business schools around the world. It has brought many businesses lots of happy customers and helped entrepreneurs from all around the world to solve problems with innovative new solutions. Step 1. Empathize. The purpose of step 1 is to conduct interviews that give you an idea about what people really care about. We need to empathize with their situation. For example, if you want to help old people, you might find that they want to keep the ability to walk around. In your conversations, they might share with you different ways they can do that. Later into the interview, you'll want to dig a little deeper, look for personal stories or situations where things became difficult.
So guys, what they're talking about here is kind of cool. And they're using an elderly person as an example. But when you have an idea, per se, it might be something that's useful for you because you are that user is what they're going to call it. Like who here uses a spoon to eat their cereal? Does everybody use a spoon? Who here uses a knife to eat their cereal? Anybody? That's a little weird, right? The spoon is specifically used for eating that. We are the user of that spoon. Now, if we were someone else, say like an older person or something like that, that might need another tool, like you and I might not be using wheelchairs or canes. If we wanted to design something for that user, we would have to go talk with them. And this is a big group of research called ethnographic research. So ethnographic research is basically finding your user, figuring out what they use, what their lifestyle is like, all these sort of data points, and then using all those points to create something that's even extra useful. So as you cereal eaters here with all of your spoons, I could come up to you and say, how can I design a better spoon that will help you enjoy your cereal more, eat your cereal faster, maybe savor your cereal. So instead of taking a giant spoonful, maybe you can only scoop one Cheerio at a time and you have to eat it that way. How does that sound? Eating your whole bowl of Cheerios, one Cheerio at a time. But you know, depending on what we're doing, there's just different uses for it. So that's what this step of the design process is all about.
Ideally, you redo the process with many people with the same problem. Step 2, define the problem. Looking at the interviews, you can now understand the actual needs that people are trying to fulfill with certain activities. One way to do that is to underline the verbs or activities that the people mentioned when talking about their problems, like going for a walk, meeting old friends for tea, or simply going grocery shopping around the corner store. You might realize it's not so much about going out, but more about staying in touch. After your analysis, formulate a problem statement. Some elderly are afraid to be lonely. They want to stay connected. Step 3, ideate. Now focus only on the problem statement and come up with ideas that solve the problem. The point is not to get a perfect idea, but rather to come up with many ideas, like unique virtual reality experiences, senior-friendly hoverboards, or a modified pushcart. Whatever it is, sketch up your best ideas and show them to the people you are trying to help.
So at this point in this stage, they're basically talking about creating as many ideas as possible. So how can we pull out all of these crazy, outlandish, wild ideas? And the most important part about this step is that nothing gets ruled out. So every single idea that you come up with, you write it down, you record it. And why do you guys think we'd want to record all these ideas? Why don't we just like crumple up that piece of paper and throw it in the trash?
Because they're your ideas and you want to keep them and maybe you could use them, build them, give them to someone that needs them.
Exactly. So you might come up with this idea up here for a senior-friendly hoverboard, and you think about it and you're like, well, that could be dangerous, and like maybe they don't want to go that fast. Don't throw all that stuff on the table yet. Just take your idea and put it down. It's because in the future, we might be able to come back and look at that and be like, oh, wow, this is great. And now Calliope noticed too, like within this whole thing, that what they're trying to do is create connectedness. So Calliope's like, well, you just could use Facebook. That's another awesome solution. In this point, it seems like they really want the physical connectedness. So he's going to start developing this push walker that will help them get around faster. So yeah, I love what Calliope just said again. You might forget one you threw out and then regret disregarding it then. Because if you had it there, you could look at it again. Or maybe when you get your friend over and you say, hey, these are some ideas I had. All of a sudden they look at your hoverboard and they go, well, what if it's not a hoverboard? What if it's some sort of motorized skateboards, like we've seen those new motorized skateboards that have hit the market. So tons of different ways that we can go creating ideas.
So you can get their feedback. Step 4, prototype. Now take a moment to reflect on what you have learned from your conversations about the different ideas. Ask yourself, how does your idea fit in the context of people's actual lives? Your solution could be a combination of a new idea and what is already being used. Then connect the dots, sketch up your final solution, and go build a real prototype that's just good enough to be tested. Step 5, test. Now test your prototype with actual users. Don't defend your idea in case people don't like it. The point is to learn what works and what didn't, so any feedback is great. Then go back to ideation or prototyping and apply your learning. Repeat the process until you have a prototype that works and solves the real problem. Now you are ready to change the world or open shop.
Kind of cool, right? So there's all these different ways that we can use these idea processes to basically end up with the prototype and then test our prototype back and forth until we end up with the final solution. So looking a little further, this is ideation, and we looked at it last time, and we focused mostly on ideation on paper, so trying to get our ideas out that way. But maybe some of us aren't the best drawers, or we haven't developed our drawing skills yet we still have the ability to create things like awesome paper airplanes, or maybe we're really great at making those little marble runs. These are great ways that you guys can use your creativity, just like this origami thing right here. It's a different way to fold a piece of paper to create a different outcome. So that's why today I had you guys grab some paper. This is what we're going to use to start ideating, and we're going to create the solutions for a couple of different problems. So once we go into our breakout rooms, we'll be able to see how we're going to tackle that. So let's look at sculpture. Anyone want to read this definition for me? You want to give that a shot?
I can.
Yeah, go for it. That'd be great.
Sculpture, art that operates in 3 dimensions. Historical sculptural processes used carving and modeling in materials such as stone, metal, ceramics, wood, and other materials. Since modernism, there has been almost complete freedom of materials and process.
So that's pretty cool, right? So if we think sculpture traditionally, we might be thinking of sculptures of heads or sculptures of dragons or these sort of things that we'd see at like historical places. But since modernism, which is the last basically movement within the art world, we're looking at all different processes. It doesn't matter what you are creating. You could be sculpting out of feathers if you wanted. You could be sculpting out of foam. You could be sculpting out of wood or fiberglass or plaster. Like these form studies that we see here, these very beautiful sculptural form studies, these are actually made from drywall plaster. So if you guys look in your house right now and you look at the wall, and it's made out of that kind of somewhat hollow sounding stuff that you can like put a nail into and hang a picture, that's drywall. It's covered with this plaster. That plaster is so great because it's super easy to sand and form, and you can create really cool objects like these ones. So let's take a look at other ways as to where we can get our ideas from. So within sculpture and really like the ideation process, when we're talking 3D, instead of calling these sketches or drawings, we call them form studies. And now within this form study, we are just exploring a new idea or form. So we can kind of see here on the sketch page, all of these different ideas and forms. Who knows what they were trying to make? We're not entirely sure. But what we're most focused on is how that comes into effect over here. So if you read to evolve the form out of one's natural sketching style with harmony, balance, rhythm, and contrast. So those were their criteria. And then they break away to create something that's more cute, sensuous, retro, or futuristic. So they're trying to elicit emotions within these things. So here's a cool example, guys. What do you notice the shape of the scorpion in the form study? Can you see that scorpion shape within this kind of futuristic, smoothed out model? It's kind of cool because we can start to look at these different places as to where can we get inspiration for form. So what if this piece right here was supposed to be like, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's supposed to be some sort of wearable necklace. And this is like has a speaker in it so you can talk to people. So we can start to use these different forms from nature, from different things we've seen, different materials we're using, so many places to find inspiration. Here's another example. This is digital form studies. So this is done on the computer. These are simply illustrated within Photoshop or something like that. But it's just another example, rather than ideating entirely on paper or in 3D. You can do it digitally too. I typically find more creativity coming out of hands-on stuff because I'm a very tactile person. I like to use my hands. So this is kind of a cool one. They cropped it a little funny, but we can see that from one idea too, we can take it and go in tons of different directions. So if you guys see here, the initial form study, they wanted something that was more detailed, something with a couple more nuances, right? Or maybe less detailed. How can we remove things and simplify it? How can we make it seem slow, or how can we make it seem fast? So just because you had one idea doesn't mean you should stop right there. Try expanding on it. Take it in tons of different directions. So here's an example of a couple of different places to get ideas. Which one of these stands out to you guys? You can unmute yourself or enter it in the chat. It's different materials, experiences, conversations, external influences, and collaboration. What are you saying? How do you guys get your ideas? We have experiences. Yeah.
For me, it would probably be external influences because I get a lot of inspiration from just like looking around or like going on a walk or listening to music or something.
Totally.
So like other people's creativity tends to fuel my own creativity because I take their ideas and I just shift them around until there's something else.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. Anyone else? Does anyone else get ideas? I see experiences in there. Does anyone want to expand on that? Sort of similar, right? One of my biggest ones is conversation. I can have this idea and I'll be thinking about it. And it seems like the second I start to talk to someone about my idea, whether they say something or I come to a realization, just verbalizing my thoughts can really, really help. Just come up with something unique and unusual. So
Mine's conversation too.
that's awesome. Yeah, right. Talking to someone, or even like a friend, you're like, what if we did this? And then your friend's like, but what if we did that? And you're like, but what if we did this? And then you're both like, yeah, that's awesome. That's the perfect idea.
For me, it's experiences, like I said in the chat.
Yeah,
just
cool.
because I have a 3D printer and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So things that I find that just aren't really the best to their best use, I try and change.
That's awesome. Yeah, always trying to improve is a huge way to find innovation, is if you're always wanting and thinking of solutions. So this is awesome, guys. If anyone came into the room late, I'm going to throw this form into the chat one more time. This is to capture attendance. So if you guys haven't done that, please follow that form. Get ready. I'm going to set up a few breakout rooms here. And I want you guys to get your pencils and paper and scissors ready because we have a little project to do. So get ready. Go ahead and fill out that form if you haven't done so yet. Super fun. I love it. Awesome. Okay, so let me get the breakout rooms ready. We are going to do 4 different breakout rooms. So we should have 3 people to breakout room. And each one of these, before I do this, I'm going to grab the other presentation here. See if I can escape. Nice. Okay. Let's get anyone with the link. So in case you guys aren't using your elite email right now, you guys should still be able to get into here. And what we're going to do is once you guys go into your breakout room, you will see, you'll be assigned to it. And then I want you to follow this link in the chat. So everyone be sure that you grab this link here. That's the one for this Google Doc presentation that I have up, or this Google slide presentation I have up right now. So everyone be sure that you open that up and it should start to show me who's checking it out when you guys get it open. So I'll wait for you guys to get there. There we go. Awesome. People are starting to jump in. Excellent. One more thing though, I found this and I didn't want to put it into the slide, but I found this really, really cool presentation someone did on form studies. So I'm just going to scroll through this kind of slowly. And once you get up on there, you can kind of just take a look. I think this is really self-explanatory, so I don't need to say too much. You can just really see the evolution in this form. All right, if you guys have any questions or need help finding that, that presentation, just let me know. This is just kind of cool visuals to get your brains thinking. How different shapes are coming together, how different facets and forms. Yeah, I like what you said, Clyde. That's so true. So what we're going to do here, yeah, Carter, have you found the link yet? Let's see, so it's right up here in the chat. Did you see this one in the chat? It's the timestamp is 10:26 a.m. Maybe I can message it to you directly. Let me see if I can do that too. Oops. Let's see. Oops, wrong person. Okay. Did that come through to you? Okay, awesome. Everyone jump in there. Great. So what I'm going to do here is let me stop sharing so you guys can see me. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to set us all up in breakout rooms. There's 12 of us here. So there should be about 3 or 4 people per breakout room. You guys are going to work together to follow a prompt on whichever one of these. But the idea here is that we are going to create a support for a book. So if you have a hardcover book nearby, that's perfect. But we are going to figure out how we can support this book off of a table, how we can get it as low as possible, as high as possible, how we can leave it open, all sorts of stuff. So when you find your breakout room, you'll go ahead and click on one of these things. It'll give you your prompt, and we will go from there. Yeah, dictionary is probably too heavy. Something about this, nothing like too big is probably ideal. If we have something way too big, it's going to be really hard to support that stuff. So I'm going to be jumping between breakout rooms, and you guys should be able to message me directly. So let's give it a shot. Let's see, where did my breakout rooms go? There we go. All right, guys, here we go. You should see a little prompt that asks you to head into that breakout room. You guys see that on your screen? A couple of people in there. There we go. So Carter, looks like you're in room 1. Javier, you're in room 3. And Caden, you are in room 2. Sandy, we have you in room 4. Go ahead and accept those. If you guys have any questions, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you can take off. No worries. Thanks for being here. All right, Caden, Javier, do you guys have any questions? You figuring it out? Let's see, Mario, I'm gonna move you to room 1. And Caden, Javier, if you have any questions, just let me know. Hey guys. I just wanted to jump in here. Do you guys find your slide on the presentation? Okay, awesome. So for your prompt, what we're trying to do is create a structure that elevates your book off of the table, but only touches in 2 spots. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, just send me a message in the chat. I'm gonna go check out the other breakout rooms.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, the tall thing is what gets me. I'm sitting here like, how to make it tall. That's a hard.
Are you guys doing okay? You understand the prompt here? Okay, awesome. I just wanted to check in. So yeah, how high can you get this off your desk? Let's see. We're
Another
only-
question. Do I have enough desk space?
True. So let's see how you creative you can get to create some rigidity with this flimsy paper to support that. So good luck, guys. We're gonna go for about 10 minutes. So look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yes.
How are we doing, Grant? How you doing, guys?
Oh, we're doing good.
Did you guys figure out the prompt for the third one? For your third breakout?
I'm still doing it right now.
Okay, cool. So let me see. This is yours right here. I'm just going to copy it into the chat here. And I think
No, don't do that. Stop.
here, so I'm sending it to you, Brant, and then I'm going to send it to you. I'm not sure what your name is on the iPhone, but
Here, I'll fix it. Hold on.
words, I need to go. Assign to, I'm going to give you guys, let's see. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna jump back. So let me know if you need, if you have any questions. Let me know there. So, hey Daphne, hey Anthony, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Awesome. Oh, Daphne, you just changed your name.
Yeah, I just changed it.
I got you. Okay, cool. Anthony, I saw you just joined. We just broke out into breakout rooms. So I'm gonna send you the prompt here, Anthony. There you go. So what we're doing, we just went through the little presentation, but we are trying to create a solution for the third breakout room is to create the lowest structure possible. So we need to elevate this book off of our desk. We need to get it as close as we can, but it has to be tall enough that we can still slide a pencil underneath it. So how can we do that using printer paper? So let's see, if you can, go try to find about 5 pieces of printer paper, but we need to figure out what we can do. Maybe we're gonna bend it. Does anyone have any ideas to start there? How can we get this paper if we wanted it to support something? How can we get it to do that? The paper's too flimsy on its own. Do you guys have any ideas?
Maybe we can find some sort of way to like bend it.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Like have like 2 pieces of paper like this and try to stick them together to see what happens.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Give it a shot, Brant. See if you can come up with something and you can share that with these guys. Kind of cool. Daphne, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll show you. This is what came to my mind at first. I don't want to influence your thoughts too much, but I was like, what if we could just create something that like accordion like that, and then they would support the book. But I have a feeling when I put the book on it, it's going to crush it. It's going to crush my little structure. Yep, they crushed it. So we need to think of a way, well, how could we expand on that idea? How can we make this have a little bit more structure to it?
Maybe put another piece of paper underneath it.
Great idea. Totally. So I'm going to let you guys explore with that, and I'm going to go check on the other rooms here really quick. So good luck, guys. We got about another 7 minutes. Hey, guys. How are our ideas looking? Where are we at? Cool. Carter, you look at you go. This is awesome. Super cool. Wow, that's really good. That's awesome.
I crumbled up 2 pieces. I crumbled up 2 pieces of paper and put it in each corner so the paper could hold the book.
That's great. So how could we expand on what Carter created here? How could we help it go even higher? Is there any way we could make those taller?
I might have an idea that might work, but I don't know.
We'll give it a shot. The only way we're going to know is if we try together. So let's see what we can come up with. Is there anything we can do to stack things on top? Because I love what's happening here, right? What if we did something like bent the paper away? But is there any way we could get the paper to get rigid, if we give it a few bends to it like that? I don't no, it's an idea. So keep working on these. We're going to share our ideas as a group once we come back. So you got about another 5 minutes or so, guys. Let's see what we can come up with. I'm going to check on the other breakout rooms. How are we feeling, guys? We come up with anything here in the for creating the
Yeah,
text possible?
I had 2 pieces of paper that I used like this, and now I'm trying to make it be open.
Got you. Cool. Excellent. That elevates your book off the desk and only has 2 contact points. No, sorry, that's the first one. You guys are the tall structure possible. So I was working with the other group and we came up with an idea like this to create a little bit of rigidity. So maybe that's something that can help influence your thoughts, but give you guys another 5 minutes or so and we'll share it as a group. Good luck. Hey, Chloe. Hey, we just went into breakout rooms here. So everyone's coming back in and we're all going to share our solutions to the ideas we had. So you can totally just check it out and listen to what other people had to say. I'm glad you made it.
Talk back to him and he's not just talking himself.
Okay, 1 more minute. I'm going to pull them back in. Yep, at 10:42. So I'm glad you were here though. I wonder if I can't share this presentation with you. 1 second. I'm gonna copy the link. Okay, cool. I'm going to message this to you directly. There you go. So that will show you the presentation that we went through today. We were talking about ideation through sculpture. So how can we create things in 3D to stimulate our mind to create ideas that we can use as solutions for different problems? Okay, here we go. grab the breakout rooms and pull everyone back in. Okay. Let everyone filter back in. Seems like the groups are still in progress, but it should kick everyone out here in just a little bit. So we'll hang tight until then. Let everyone filter in. So while we're waiting too, I wanted to share with you guys one of my favorite ways to ideate, especially in 3D. So I gave you guys a few examples. We could fold paper, right? Come up with different solutions this way. Super easy way to mock up our ideas, but paper has its limitations. Number one, it's not very strong, right? This is so flimsy and floppy. Sometimes it's a little hard to get all of our ideas out using this material. So what I like to do is use wire. I don't know if anyone's ever explored with wire before, but this is a very, very flexible, very cheap material to work with. And it can go to just about anything you want it to do. I use it to fix solutions all the time, especially if I have to do like a quick repair. A pair of pliers and some wire is pretty amazing. Because as you start to bend this wire, you can create some really incredible shapes that give you the freedom. I mean, it really is, if you guys have ever done any like jewelry or anything like that, it's just a great way to start exploring how to take material that really doesn't have much value and create something that's really crazy, cool, and wild. You can start bending this stuff. You could create sculptures. I've made like entire caribou and whales out of wire for different art projects. So if you guys want something fun, easy, affordable, and endlessly entertaining, I really would suggest finding a little bit of wire and grabbing a pair of pliers. You can have so much fun with this stuff. So, I'm so excited to find what you guys figured out though. So let's go ahead, maybe one or two people from each group can kind of share what their solution was for these problems. So does anyone from breakout room number 1 want to share? What was the solution? So your prompt was, using paper, create a structure that elevates your book off of your desk, but only has 2 contact points with the book. What did we come up with? Does anyone from that group want to share? I saw some really cool ideas there. It was neat. We saw some great stuff. Something in the chat. Yeah, you guys were in different groups, but Daphne, I think you were in group number 3, I want to say. So Carter over here is kind of showing she's working on something to get the book even higher than possible. So super cool. Anyone, Carter, do you want to share what you came up with here?
I figured out something to get the book off the ground with a pencil could fit underneath it with a little bit of space on top.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Give it 1 sec. We're going to see if Mario, do you have your hand raised for something? I couldn't hear you. Cool. So I don't know if you guys can see, if you look through the videos, I'm going to pin this right here so we can check it out. Here, maybe I'll stop sharing really quick too, so we have a little bit bigger. That's awesome. So if everyone can click over to Carter's screen, do you guys see how she elevated that book up? And the idea was only 2 contact points. So Carter, do you want to explain a little bit what you were thinking was?
Well, I made 2 pieces of paper in a shape that was like this. Then I taped a square that had lines that went up like this on it, onto it, and then I put the book in and it stayed.
Super, super cool. What was the biggest issue you had when you were trying to get your paper to support the book?
It was hard to get the book in.
Yeah, was it really flimsy? So it seems like you created structure with your paper by wrapping the paper to create like a tube, right? Awesome, cool. Did anyone else have an idea like that? Did someone have a similar thought when they were going through their stuff? Cool, that's great. Awesome, well, thank you so much for sharing. Let's see about breakout room number 2. So your prompt, breakout room number 2, was use your paper to create the tallest structure possible and that elevates the book off of your desk. So let's see, who did we have in group number 2?
I have to go.
All right, see you, Jude.
Bye.
So who came up with the tallest structure possible?
Well, he already canceled tonight.
Did have an idea?
So what about today?
I know, Brian, you were trying to create the lowest structure possible, right? Anyone from this room want to share?
Are we still doing group 2?
Yes.
I made this thing.
Super cool, Clive. Did you want to share that
Right
with
now,
us?
I'm just trying to get the book to balance because I didn't exactly think that. So I have this book, and I'm trying because I would be able to if I had permission to like bend it a little bit more, but I don't know if I do because this is my mom's book. But so I'm like sitting here trying to get the pages to distribute their weight evenly across the thing so that it actually stays and the pages don't flip. So I'm
Cool.
trying.
Could you tilt your
to-
screen down just a little bit so we can see it?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Super cool. You guys see that? That's great. Yeah, right? Woo, good job. That's
There
awesome.
we go.
That's killer. So that was a great solution. I feel like, were you in group number 3 here? No.
I was
Definitely.
I was in group 2. I just decided that I wanted to do this one because I thought
Okay.
it would be cooler.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that was the 4th prompt. That was the hardest one. That's super cool. Well done, Calliope. That's awesome, guys. So if
Like,
can you
I tried to
explain-
get it as high as I could with it being open, so that was fun.
That's awesome. Yep. See you, Carter. Thanks for coming. But super, super cool. So yeah, combining all these different ideas. How did you get rigidity with the paper?
I basically so rigidity means like grip, right?
Yeah, like stiffness. How did you get the paper to become stiff and
Okay. Yeah, so I took these and I folded all of them like different amounts. So like this one I would say is probably like 6th or something, and this one is maybe 12th, and this one is like 8th to 10th. So I folded that, and then I got this one to be in half. And I used the base because I tried it without the base and it wouldn't stay because there wasn't enough contact with the surface. So
Cool.
I just tried to get I tried to get the paper as thick as possible.
That's awesome. I love it. Super cool. Now, thank you so much for sharing that. That's killer. Brand, did you have an idea for getting your pencil under your book? This is
So I actually got it.
Cool. Let's see.
Here, and I tried to challenge myself because this is a really heavy book, and I have my pencil here. So all I did was fold 4 pieces of paper one way, and I folded 2, and then I took the 5th, and then I took a 3rd piece of paper and folded it the other way, stuck it under, and I kept on folding them the same way that I did before I folded it, and a pencil fits underneath it.
That's super cool. So what made you think of that solution?
I had lots of different solutions and I tried it and none of them worked. So I figured out folding. So see, I took this piece of paper out and then these 3, and then I have this piece of paper that's folded the other way.
That's awesome. So it seems like by adding different bends in the paper, regardless of what we were able to do, we created stiffness, because that's something that paper is not very good at, is being super flimsy. So
A very, very heavy book. So that's why I challenged myself to do it.
yeah, totally. The heavier the book, the harder this was. So We could either go for a heavier book, we could go for stronger material too. So I think what you guys are noticing is that we have material limitations, right? We can't always use every material for the right thing. Certain materials are better than other things. The one thing paper is great at though, is being quick, easy, and awesome just to get ideas out. Whether we're drawing, we can bend the paper, we can fold the paper, we can explore origami, tons of different things. So I'm so glad you guys are able to make it. This is the last makerspace that we're going to focus on really like ideation and ideas. And the future ones, we're going to start learning different processes. So I might send out an email that says, if you can, bring a paintbrush, bring a piece of sanding paper, bring a piece of wood. We're going to start looking at all of these different materials, all these different processes. So you guys can start to pick up these different ideas, and then you can take your ideation, your sculpture, your sketches, whatever it might be, and start making actual things. So I'm super excited to see you guys next week or next month. It's crazy. Can't believe we have to wait a whole month, but it's always the first Monday of the month. It sometimes creeps up on us. I'll do my best to send out an email, but get excited. Think of ideas, think of projects you want to do. Fall just seems like such a great time to get some projects going. So I have some to share with you, and I can't wait until next time. We will see you guys in a month.
Okay, bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.